Hey there, and welcome back to Scrap with Penny. I've got something a little different for you today. This is an excerpt from my page planning video, and I wanted to parse out this PageMaps process where I walk you through how to scale a PageMap sketch or any sketch without measurements and get it to a 12 by 12 scale so you could easily assemble your page. So let's dive in. I would start a process video and I would have these papers pulled, this sketch, and these photos out on my desk. So now let's hop over to this and let's go through how to do the math on a PageMaps. I did this math in a video at the beginning of a video, and there's been enough interest in this that I thought it would be helpful to repeat the exercise and kind of put it in its own video. So here's my halfway point right here. And so this is telling me, and this is how I start, this is telling me that, well, nuts. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. It's a little easier on a single page. Okay. So this measures in real life. Of course, it would have to be in between. You could just say it's 5 1/4, but that's going to throw it off. But it's more than 5 1/8, and so it would be 16ths. It would be 3/16. So 5 3/16 equals 12. Now the measurement for 3/16 equals 0.1875. In case you're curious, which makes sense that it would be halfway between 0.125 and 0.25. So I'm going to take 12 and I'm going to divide it by 5 3/16, which is 5.1875, and that's going to get me a multiplier. And that gives me a multiplier of 2.313. And so on all of these other measurements, I'm going to multiply the real-time measurement I get with my real ruler off this printout, and that's going to extrapolate it roughly to what the measurement would be on a 12-inch scale. So let's start with this stripe. It's fairly easy, and it is 1.75. So I've got this stripe and it's 1.75, and that's going to be multiplied by 2.313, and that's going to give me 4.04. And you could at that point round it, you could round it down to 4 or up to 4 1/8. I think it'd be easier just to go with 4. So this stripe is going to be 4 by 12. Now, I didn't know that this was going to be an easy measurement, but obviously anytime you see a full image, it's going to be the 12 inches. So my stripe is 4 by 12. It's repeated. It's the same. And then let's go with this larger rectangle. And that is 3 7/8. So I'm going to write 3 7/8. And this is going to be multiplied by our 2.313. And that gives me 8.96. And obviously you would just round that up to 9. Now, it's not quite 12 inches, but you can hazard a pretty good guess that that's a 1/2 inch margin. And I'm not even going to bother to do the math. So I'm going to say that that is 9 by 11 1/2. It's really hard. So that measures at little, just basically an eighth. Okay, so what else do we need to measure? We want to get a top margin, and I'm going to measure to the top of this paper because in putting a page together, I would put this down first and put this on. So I'm going to come right here and I'm going to go, it shows to be just less than 3/8. And so if top margin, it's approximately 3/8. And if I multiply that 3/8 times 2.313, then I get 0.86, which is 7/8. So that would mean you'd have 6/8 left after you put the scallop down, which would be, it would be sensible because we're saying this is a 1/2 inch, and so that's slightly larger, so that'd be 7.75. Okay, and then so on this left margin, I just called it that's a 1/2 inch. And then my bottom margin, I want to measure it from the circle because this margin is going to be based on the fact that your total width of your paper is 9 inches, and you would want to just know where your circle goes. And so that's 3/8. And we've already done the math and we figured out that 3/8 in a real measurement equates to 7/8. And so they're saying basically that this margin here is the same as this one right here. Now, if you didn't want to burn a whole piece of paper, so you've got this big 4-inch, then you would let's see. We can see right here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 1 3/8. So I'm going to say bottom half of rectangle is 1 3/8. And that measures at roughly 3 1/4. It multiplies to 3.18. So when you get a result like that, you just have to decide if you're going to go to 3 1/8 or 3 1/4. It's easier when you're sharing this work to be at 1/4, I think, than 1/8. Easier to cut. And so what you could say is you would cut this piece at 3 1/4 by 12, and then you would have 4 inches here. So you would have 4 and 3 1/4 is 7 1/4, and your total is 9. So that would mean you would cut this top piece. So you'd subtract that. You'd cut this top piece at 1.75. And then you would have this little notebook edge overlapping it. So I hope that was slow enough. And, we got to do our circles. Now you just kind of have to guess. You just have to hazard a guess where the center of the circle is, because you can't see the whole circle either way. And I think it's going to be, okay. So this is 2 3/4. We're going to call this one 2, and we're going to call this one 1. And they very well may be the same diameter. So we've got 2.75, and we're going to multiply that by 2.313, and that gives us 6.36, which is 6 3/8. I don't understand all the eighths. That's kind of how it goes, so. then this last one, it's the same. It's measuring the same at 2.75. So they are an identical size. Since I'm thinking about adding one up here, it could be when I go to make this page that I'll reduce this one in size. Okay, so just to go over the key points, I took my ruler and I got a real measurement, a real life measurement of 5 3/16 that would compare to 12 inches. So to get the scale, I take the 12 inches and I divide it by the 3/16 was 0.1875. So I take the 12 and I divide it by the 5.1875 and I get a multiplier of 2.313. So then on every measurement after that, every other real life measurement, I'm going to multiply that real life measurement times the 2.313 to get a 12-inch scale measurement. Okay, so hopefully that will be helpful to some of you, and I appreciate you watching me pull this page together and get it planned, and hopefully there will be some tips and tricks in there for you. And I hope that you had some fun while I went through this. And let me know, do you pull a bunch of pages together at one time, or do you plan as you go along? I tend not to want a lot of page kits stacking up. I work really hard to keep everything neat and tidy, and I just don't have the space to store a bunch of pre-made kits. And so I plan pretty much as I go. And it's helpful to me to do that. In fact, what I want badly to do right now is just immediately start making this page. But I need to stay focused on preparing for August content. And I appreciate you. And if you are a subscriber, I want to make sure you know you have my thanks for that. And if you're not a subscriber yet, if you'd consider subscribing, it just lets YouTube place my videos on your recommended list. And I'm working to be able to turn off the mid-roll ads for everyone. So watch for this in a process video. And when I post that process video, I'll link back to this page plan. And when I get the process video posted, I'll update the description on this so that they link to one another. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. I'll be back soon with more layouts, videos, and a little stash busted magic. So please come back and crop with me. Until next time, happy scrapping, and remember, this is where paper meets story. Bye-bye.